Hello, everyone, and happy second Sunday of Lent. It has been a crazy week. I don't know if any of you feel the same way, but just feel like the Lord is taking a lot of things out of my life. And yeah, who knows what He's doing, but I feel it. So it has been an adjustment and has taken a lot of trust and surrendering. If anybody has been listening to the Halo app for Lent 40, you know what I'm talking about. But we're going to be talking about Song of Songs. So this book is unlike any other book in the Bible. And you may be wondering why there is such a romantic, sultry book in the Bible. It is intense. It's very intense. And I am a huge fan of Theology of the Body. I don't know if you've ever heard of it before, but I have been listening to some Theology of the Body kind of walk-alongs to the Song of Solomon. And it's beautiful. So at first, whenever I first read this book, probably when I was in college, I was reading it and I felt embarrassed. And looking back on it now, I think I was embarrassed because growing up, like, we were taught, like, sex wasn't bad, but you don't talk about it. You don't, like, it's the unsaid thing that you don't do unless you're married. And then, like, somewhere along the lines, you're supposed to all of a sudden know everything about it. And it's just something that I have thought a lot about over the last 10 years. And I deep dived into Theology of the Body and the beauty that sex is and why God created it. And it's beautiful. So it just makes me reflect back on the time when I was embarrassed to read this book, because God sees us in this light. Like, He wants to romance us. He loves us so much and so delicately and so unconditionally that He doesn't want us to doubt His love for us. And it's just beautiful how this, He calls us in a way to love Him unconditionally in return to the best of our ability. But His biggest desire for us is to know His love. And He just portrays it beautifully in this book. And, like, to be romanced by God is something that doesn't get talked about a lot. But He is truly, like, our lover. He wants to romance us. He wants us to know how deeply He loves us. And He shows us that through gifts that He gives us throughout life. He shows us that through blessings that He gives us, through the people in our lives that love us. And it's beautiful. So I love the Song of Songs just because it brings full circle body and spirit. I was talking to someone the other day and going over, like, how important it is to lead souls to heaven. And it was so much focused on the aspect of our spiritual aspect that we kind of lost sight of the physical body. And I posed the question, I was like, so we're leading souls to Christ. How can we minister to people's physical bodies, because ultimately they work together. And when both are at their peak, our physical body, our spiritual body, is when we are in full unison of how God created us to be. Does it make sense? When our physical body, and we're treating our physical body, giving our physical body the medicine it needs, the nutrition it needs, the exercise it needs, or treating our body appropriately. And then on the other side, our spiritual body, our soul, praying and growing in relationship with Christ. When both of those work together, that is when we are in full bloom of the creation that we were made to be. God didn't create a physical body just to house our spiritual body so we can get our spiritual body to heaven. He wants all of us in heaven when at the return of Christ. When Christ comes again, our whole body is going to be in heaven with him. So it's just beautiful as a reminder of, like, most of the Bible focuses on the spiritual aspect, focuses on our soul and how our souls are. But Song of Songs brings in the physical body, brings in our desires, our beauty, and how God sees us inside and out. And it's just beautiful. So it's a lot, it's deep. And yeah, it can be embarrassing to read because you're like, what did that just say? But it's beautiful. And I encourage you to read it through the lens of how God looks at you. It could feel a little awkward at first, but he sees you as his treasure. He sees you as his beauty. He sees you as the most beautiful gift. And he wants you to see and know that. So I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I hope you enjoy the Song of Songs.